Kashtira Ariseheart, a name that's pretty much well known by modern Yu-Gi-Oh! As one of the most degenerate and possibly strongest cards ever printed in the game's history. For me, I had actually no recollection of this card at the time. Before Photon Hypernova, and frankly, when I actually started to get into going to locals, because I've been playing this game for as long as I can remember, even maybe since I was 4 years old. I was not a good player by any measure of the word. I was that one person at locals who had the chance to do fine, but just played horribly. That was me for 2.5 years, which was embarrassing in retrospect. How bad, I mean, I'm not great still, but how bad I was then. So I would play random stuff. I grew up with the anime, so I always had such a fondness for anime decks. Um, and while I did play Therion and tried my absolute hardest to make that an actual deck, um, I was never there as a player. So, come to my surprise, when the Photon Hypernova um, pre-sale was going on and everyone was going in to get their sets. I remember when I was at home during the time, and this was still during a time where I didn't know what cards were coming out. I didn't care about that. None of that was of interest to me. I just played the game. And a friend of mine actually said, "Hey, you should come in. You're not too far away, and everyone's getting their one set." And I'm thinking to myself, sure, I guess I could come. I really didn't want to spend like $80 or whatever for an entire box at the time, but I went down, not really thinking much of it. I see a bunch of people in the OKC region actually pulling up here, and actually this would be the last time we would have a early release for a set. Uh, we haven't done so great since then. I think that was a few years ago, but I show up, I see everyone, they're trading cards with each other. I really don't know what's in this set at all, but I decide I'm gonna buy it. I'm going to just get it done with and then go home, maybe catch up with a few people. And then I pulled the first ever true card that I value to this day was a Starlight Rare Kashtira Ariseheart. And boy, was everybody salivating for the chance to actually get that card off of me. I was a little dumbfounded to pull such a rare card. And I remember looking at this card and I'm like, what is this? This card's so cool. And that's when I learned about Kashtira that had just come out with the set and everything else. And I didn't know if I really wanted to build a deck like that because it seems so expensive. It looks so cool, but I didn't know if I wanted to. And then, I'm not going to say his name for respectful reasons and to not stir drama, but I remember when it was pulled and people started trying to buy it off me, and I was like, hold on, let me just figure out if I want to keep a hold of this card. And I believe at the time it was $500. A player said to me, a player of your caliber does not deserve to own a card like that. You'll make terrible use of it. You should give it to me instead. And I remember him just saying that across the entire locals. And then I just said to myself, no, I'm keeping this, and now I'm building the deck. And then he says, you're a moron if you want to actually not give me that card, because that whole card could give you the core. And I'm like, no, this card has meaning to me now. If anything, for just, I couldn't believe I had ever been talked to like that. I mean, we had cheaters at our locals, and we've had some scumbags banned and all that kind of stuff. But to be directly told that, to be told I wasn't good enough, I felt invigorated. I wanted to now play this card, but I also really like the card artwork, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get rid of it. So I would proceed to actually start playing Kashtira, which I actually think started to make me better at the game. And I'm gonna say this very lightly: Kashtira doesn't have the biggest skill expression in the world. There are certain things you can do, like if you go with the mirror match, just go second. You're more likely to win because your opponent can't do as much, and it plays right in. And Kashtira and the mirror is better going second objectively. But I digress. Um, I decided I want to make this deck, and I would keep. And to this day, I still hold the Kashtira Ariseheart. Um, it's I'm not gonna say I became a great player. I definitely became better. I began to understand playing a deck that were for all the mistakes you can make, other than just getting nibbed in your entire board and still being fine, was really a great way to just show, well, I can do it, but if I just play a little bit smarter, then the results are gonna speak for themselves, which is what I needed. And I can't say a lot of people have moments like that. And Arise Heart was definitely that card. But I was so oblivious. Like, even after it got banned, for about a year and a half, I was oblivious as to actually why the card deserved to get banned. I kid you not, I'm not exactly the brightest person. And yeah, it was. I knew it was going to happen. No question about it. But I didn't think it would actually be banned for as long as it was, nor did I think it deserved it. But in retrospect, in time, I understand that it was bias. This card is a problem. Any card that just prevents your opponent from being able to actually play the game like that. I mean, right now I'm playing quite a few decks this year. I have Eldritch, I have Arcana Force that I'm testing. I'm not really trying to be all competitive. I do have the full Raziel Fiendsmith, but that's because I already have the Fiendsmith part for Yubel, which I didn't think was going to be meta last year at all. I had been playing those cards for months before they even got their release. And even before Nightmare Throne and Gruesome Gravescormer came out, and even Phantom of Yubel was even just a thought for Konami. So I just literally played what I like, and Kashtira definitely helped me as a player. And Ariseheart I give thanks to. Not only is this aesthetically, in my opinion, one of the coolest cards ever, it's also one of the best Xyz monsters ever printed. I absolutely love this card. And the I guess the only sad thing about this whole experience is that if I could play Kashtira at its full power now, I would be so much better with it. Because even when I became a slightly better player, I still played like a moron. No doubt about it, but I could play that deck perfectly now. No questions about it. No, none of that. I just had the really bad mentality back then of go full combo and don't have follow up. That's how you lose. But Ariseheart, I've always given thanks to the card, and even to this day, I've still never sold it. I got asked multiple times, even after that event, and I almost topped my very ever regional when I went with Cash. And to put into perspective, and I know the people that I go to locals with, the ones that weren't the douchebags that were like, give me the card, you don't deserve it, they had little faith that I was going to do well. I was so close to topping. I was only three points off, and I knew going in I didn't have my Dark Arm Dragon, the rank 7, and I knew it would come to bite me in the ass in one of the games, and it certainly did just that, not having it. But man, just knowing a player like me got so close and did so much with the deck. It was the first time ever, too, not to be on a random tangent, but it was the first ever deck where I actually was undefeated locals. I had been playing for years before that. I had never come close. I remember getting my 5-0. It was such a monumentous achievement for me, both as a player, but both in just the confidence I'm able to. And I've gotten a few more over time. I did it with Ubel a few times last year, and I did it with actually Razio at the beginning of this year. It just proves that I have the capability of doing so, and I give a lot of that confidence to um, Kashtira and Ariseheart. Um, I think I would not be where I am actually without the card. I know that sounds really weird to say, but it's true. Um, the story of it, it feels like the card chose me because I pulled the Starlight and I said, I see what you're trying to say, and I play it. Um, that's why I love Kashtira. That's why, for right now, anyway, the co- profile for my channel is a Rise Heart because it's just legitimately one of my, if not my favorite card. And before this, it was Darkness, but that's because I really love Darkness as an antagonist in the anime, just for what he represents. And I love his deck. I wonder if they'll bring it in. But all that aside, that's honestly my story with Arise Heart. It was a card that came in at a certain point for me that introduced me to a deck that kind of opens me up to meta, and that kind of opens me up to becoming a slightly better player and getting a lot more confidence. And although it's banned, and it's rightfully banned, I know one day it'll be back. With how bad power creep is in Yu-Gi-Oh, it will definitely be back someday. But until then, I'll just be patiently awaiting for the king to come back, but I'll be fine. And so shall the game, so we do not have to endure an honestly, in retrospective, terrible format that was Kashtira format. But yes, that's my story with Kashtira Rise Heart. Thank you for watching.